All right, typically when I have you do an investigation, I have you graph the parabola by hand as well. But for this one, I want to make sure we had this correct so we can make sure we're doing all this part the correct way. So, axis of symmetry, you could have saw it two ways. From the graph, there is the axis of symmetry, or we know that the h value is the axis of symmetry. So we know that x equals h. So in this case, h is 6. So x equals 6. That is our axis of symmetry. That's also this line here, x equals 6. All right, the vertex, well, we know from hk it's 6 comma negative 4, or we can see it here on the graph, 6, negative 4. Okay. Zeros, again, those are the x-intercepts, and so we just have to give me the x value. So here are the two values. So you can tell me x equals 4, and you can tell me x equals 8. I don't need the full ordered pair for the zeros. You just give me the x value. The y-intercept, where does the graph touch the y-axis? Ooh, good question, right? Here's 4, here's 3, here's 2. I don't even have that on the graph. Oh, how can we do that? Well, what's the value of x on the y-axis? That's right, it's 0, right? So can't we just substitute 0 in for x and then solve for y? That's what we're going to do. 0 in for x, I get 0 minus 6 is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. 36 minus 4 is 32. So did you get that correct? Or did that stump you? 0, 32 is the correct answer there. Okay? What's the domain? Well, the domain for all parabolas, they go up, 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 and away, or they go down forever, depending on what's open up or open down, but they go wider, 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 and wider. So the x values, it's all real numbers. So our domain should have been x equals all real numbers. There's a symbol for all real numbers. Now the range is always going to go from the absolute min up or from the absolute max down. So in this case, this one opens up. So our y value here is negative 4, right? So it's going to be, our range is y is greater than or equal to negative 4. If you want to use interval notation for that, you could. The smallest number is negative 4. The biggest number is infinity. All right, so you put the smallest number on the left, biggest number on the right. We include the negative 4, so I'm going to use a bracket here. That includes the negative 4. And you can't touch infinity, so that's going to be a parenthesis. So if you want to use interval notation for the y's there, you could show it that way. Interval of increase, interval of decrease. A lot of you were struggling with this concept before break. So let's see here. Interval of increase. Which half of the parabola is increasing? That's right, the right half. This half here. So this is the part we're talking about, which is the interval of increase. We're talking about that part of the parabola. But here's the thing, we're talking about the x values. Okay, as y is going up, x is going up from where? From 6 all the way to infinity, right? So our interval of increase is from 6 to infinity. We don't include the 6 because that's where it bounces right there. So we're not going to include it, so that's a parenthesis with the 6 and a parenthesis with the infinity. You could also just say x is greater than 6. All right? Interval of decrease. All right, well then we're talking about this half of the parabola. Okay? So this is when as x gets bigger, the y's are getting smaller, smaller, and smaller. All right? So what's that interval? Well, that goes from negative infinity, right, on the far left, negative infinity, all the way until you get to 6, until x gets to 6. Okay, and you can't touch it. So you could also say x is less than 6. It would be another way of writing that if you didn't use interval notation. Okay, so hopefully that rings a bell for you. I'm sure some of you were a little rusty with that. That's to be expected. The next one that you're going to do, I'm not going to give you the solution. I want you to graph it yourself, and then I want you to answer everything. I want to check to see where you are on this idea here.